Is renting out a house a good investment? This is the Pablo Henrique channel. Like and subscription is not requested, it is conquered. Today we're discussing real estate and whether renting a home is a good idea or not. So is renting a house a good investment? It depends. I'm going to share with you in this video when you should rent and when you absolutely should sell, because there's a difference. But first step, most important, is to have a winning mindset in real estate to make sure that you start right and win, which means starting with the end in mind. And what does that really mean? It means that anytime you ever buy a house you need to view it as an investment. This is either something I'm going to sell to make money on, or this is something that I'm going to rent and make money on. Because if I buy it with the discount and I buy it right, I can rent it out and I'm going to capture a cash flow. That's a residual income, that's automatic money. That's mailbox money. It comes in every single month whether I work or not. Or it's a house that I'm going to sell and I'm going to make an equity margin play on it. Which means if I bought it with $40,000 of equity, then what I sell it I'm going to get what? Well, I'm going to get some of that money out. Maybe all of it, maybe more. And so how do you know whether you should rent or not? First of all, understand this: renting is a brilliant idea with the right kind of investments, because when you have enough homes that are rented out making you a cash flow, you got that automatic mailbox money coming in. You just need to know the difference of when to rent and when to sell. When to rent, when to sell. Let's put these up on the board. Let me give you some examples of both of these scenarios and I'm going to see if you can tell me when to rent and when to sell. But before I do, I need to give you context. I'm all about speed my money. But what it means is it means to create velocity with your money. Once if money is sitting in a bank account earning 1%, then what kind of velocity do you have? Boring velocity. But if I take it out and I put it in the investment earning 20% per year, that's more exciting. But maybe I'm sitting it in a long-term investment. If I have a chance to pull it out sooner and put it to work again, then what I'm doing is I have my money earning in multiple places at the same time. This is an important factor when deciding to rent and when to sell. So I've got a property and let me give you the scenario on it, and then you get to best judge of whether we should rent or sell. The house has a value of $100,000. For simplicity, what I owe is $50,000, and if I were to rent it, it would have a cash flow of $100 a month. Now let's just pause for a second. Every year this property's rented out, you could make $1,200 a year. But remember, you're gonna have some repairs. This is not a strong cash flow, and yet you're sitting on how much equity? You're sitting on $50,000. $50,000 could buy you 2 homes. And if you buy them right with cash flows of $300 a month, what we're talking about is my opportunity cost. 2 homes producing a total of $600 a month, or 1 home making me $100 a month. Which one's bigger? What do you think I would do? In that scenario, I would sell, absolutely. If you guessed correctly, congratulations. Like that? Awesome. Okay, let me give you another scenario. You have a house that is valued at magically $100,000. You owe $90,000, which meant that when you bought this house you really probably weren't thinking a lot about equity or buying the house with some pirate booty in it. But you can rent the house, and this house has a cash flow $300 a month. Should you rent or should you sell? Well, if I were to sell it, am I going to get my 10 grand out of it? Well, if I'm selling it on the open market with the realtor and then I've got closing fees, I might sell this and actually break even. I might even make $2,000, or I might lose a few $1,000s. So is there money to get out of the home? No, there's not. But guess what here is? There's $300 a month cash flow, $3,600 a year. That's $300 less you need to produce every single month for building up your residual income. Guess what I would do on this house? Correct. I would rent this house. Alright, let me give you one more scenario and see what you do. Let's say that I have a house that is valued at $100,000. Let's say that I owe $50,000 on it. Is starting to look familiar. But I have a cash flow of $400 a month. Why? Well, let's say I'm using one of my aggressive strategies like a lease option. It's awesome. So I've got a $400 cash flow, but I have equity. What should I do? We're going to velocitize our money. How are we going to do that? We're going to do both. We're going to keep the house, we're going to refinance or do a home equity line of credit. You can also watch a video on how to do that. And I'm going to pull out, let's say $30,000, but I'm going to keep the house. My $30,000 is going to cost me $100 a month. So now, my cash flow goes from $400 down to $300, but the $30,000 is used to buy what? A second house. And on this house, I'm going to not only just putting $30,000 now, but let's say I bought it with $20,000 of equity. So guess what? On this house it's valued at $100,000. I owe $50,000 because I put 30 down and bought it with 20,000 of equity. And let's say this house cash flows $400 a month. Well, on this house and now owe $80,000, but I'm making $300 here, I'm making $400 here. Guess how much I'm making? $700 a month. And let's check out where my net worth is gone. My net worth increased by a net $20,000. Now I got 50 sitting here, I got 20,000 here. Now I have a $70,000 net worth and a $700 month cash flow. So renting and selling, sometimes you get a beautiful in-between option. The overarching principle of, should you rent your house is, how am I velocitizing my money? Is my money invested correctly? What's the ROI that it's producing? And right now, should you rent? It really comes down to this principle and economics called opportunity costs. What are you trading the equity or money in that home for? And is it moving you up, or is it moving you back, or is it moving you sideways? When I buy real estate, I always want to level up my financial life. And if you make that your rule too, watch some of the videos here, and learn all about that. You'll learn when to rent, you'll learn when to sell, and how to grow your finances. Because you know what? It's time to do something about that property. You gotta figure out whether you should be renting it or selling it. Now watch this video right here for you to learn how to make big money. Videos every day at 8 p.m. Watch this video right here. Thank you so much everyone for watching. My name is Pablo Henrique and I'll see you in the next video.